Just question, why do we need data governance? So our direct marketing manager wants to know if you can use customer data in a sheet. Who should he ask? Just, I don't know, fill in some, get emails to create like a new campaign. Can I send it over using MailChimp? What can I do? What can't I do? Our account manager wants to know how we calculate conversion rate. Should she contact the marketing team that do conversion rate, or also the product team that also handles with conversion rate? How we calculate it all? Finance are interested to run a revenue consolidation with some legacy system. How can they find if the old data is still around? Finance people usually say, oh, we erase our data. No, so you need to actually make them feel comfortable enough that the data is out there. So for me, what is the data governance means? Basically the rules of engagement. If you want to get like more specific, it's like the rules of data engagement. So like people actually interact between departments, how like they communicate KPIs and goals, how they access the data, where they find their data. Without data governance, probably people will be unsure who to ask for the right answer, like the example before, like product or marketing. Communications might be randomized, or incorrect information should be used. I must say that, yeah, I gave the conversion value, the conversion rate example before. It's really different between marketing and product. We have to rely on collaborations for proper operations, and it might be risky. I mean, like some people are just going decide on like the next project, set themselves the goal. Maybe they just set the wrong goal, which are not aligned with the rest of the business. The data governor basically sets policies for the business terms and definition in a business glossary. Tip: if you are working in a startup, start doing it as soon as possible and iterate on that. Okay? Set the terms and definition owners, okay? Don't take it all on yourself as BI managers, okay? Finance should control like their let's say, profit and loss terms, and marketing should control the acquisition-related terms. Handling legal and privacy issues, that's of course, as you grow, you start like handling with all the legal area of like storing the data, where we store it, how we anonymize it, what can we store, what can we not. That's quality and data cleansing, of course. Like I don't know, do we make sure that when a customer fill in his address, this address is real? That if we expect like a specific range of numbers in a field, do we load it? Don't we load it? Do we report on that? What are we doing with that? Data archiving, backups, and recovery. So here it's even like moves to the DevOps area. So you actually, data governor need to communicate all these topics with them. For how long we keep backups. For how long we do auditing of specific, I don't know, financial areas in our database. Recovery, of course, like how fast? Do we have like some kind of like a hot standby? Do we, I don't know, coming up with an SLA that we will get our database live in 3 or 4 hours in case of failure? And of course, data access. It's not so common in like startups that you do like a column level or like row level data access policies. But as you grow, of course, you decide that, I don't know, sales or account manager won't be able to access anymore the financial data because it's not relevant to him. So the benefits, you set actually clear roles and responsibilities in the organizations, less confusion, and you really like there's some, from my experience, there are like specific, really simple terms that people are keeping confusing. I can give you like a GetYourGuide example. We have a shopping cart. In the shopping cart, you can put bookings, and then you check out. I explained like, around like 1,000 times what the difference between a shopping cart to a booking. So a simple term that can cause you like a lot of trouble. Try to like make everyone focus, just somehow centralize it and communicate the term as you should. So fast execution on initiatives, of course, whenever you come up with a new initiative or like a new project, you can set the goals in an easy way. Quicker turnaround on issues. It's like, you know, don't like come and start explaining yourself 1,000 times until like the BI manager or the BI analyst understand what you want from him. And of course, many other benefits that, maybe it's joyful and fun for the rest of the people to start governing data. So, practical tips that I can give you. It doesn't mean that I do all of them, but I would really like to be there. ETL documentation. Most of the ETL tools provide you like really clean, easy to use documentation. So they can be like in transformation, in job. You can easily just put notes, like document every step, every lookup, every, replacing string or whatever it is. You can make it like really, really clear and easy to use for, the next developer who will have to handle this ETL process. Data warehouse documentation. Yeah, really painful, though you don't want to start document every column in your database, but I recommend for the bigger tables or the big fact tables and the critical dimensions, do so. Centralized place for KPIs, terms and definitions. Create one sheet with at least the high-level definitions and make sure that all the company can access it. That's, I think that once you grow in a more advanced level, you can set up a data governance committee and data ambassadors in each department. Don't hurry up doing it. It's really when you reach to a stage that the company grows bigger, you have more KPIs and terms to communicate, that's the right time. In BI tool documentation, it means your reporting tool. You can just label the measures and the dimensions. People just hover over the measure with the mouse, and they can see the actual definition, the explanation for this term. It doesn't cost money, only time. But again, think about for me as a BI manager, and I have BI in GetYourGuide, I think that we measure ourselves in the ROI and in our SLAs. If we spend money if we spend time explaining a specific term over and over again, we basically spend money. Okay, we can do something else with this time. So it's something that's better to implement once, to invest the time on it, and to maintain it. Of course, you need to iterate on that, but you don't want to iterate on it on a daily basis. And of course, make terms consistent every year. That was the very beginning of this topic.
Okay, so data governance and documentation is very close to my heart. And you may wonder why is that in rapid BI prototyping? Why do we talk about that right here? Aren't we moving fast and just trying stuff out? And I think you may, on the documentation and modeling side, for example, you may not necessarily, it may not cost you any money, but if someone doesn't do it, and a good example is this, unnamed company that had, vice president of sales who thought that profit margin was calculated differently than it really is, and made a decision on it, and the business lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because he thought he had the right profit margin. And that's just horrible. If you think you make a smart decision because you're data driven, but you're actually using the data wrong, that can be really, really bad for the business. If you decide that you increase your Facebook advertising spend because of some definition that is wrong that you're using, but you're going into it with full confidence because you have the measure, right? That's really, really bad, and that's where documentation sounds super boring, and modeling and data governance sounds really boring, but it's incredibly important to do it right so people in your company can feel confident that the data they're using and the decisions they're making are correct. And another thing, if you document it once, if you define it once, so a good example is this. We wanted to figure out, okay, revenue, right, is always important. It's going to be in all your reports. So I define one time, when do we actually recognize revenue? And then I never have to worry about it again. I never have to make sure that someone didn't just use the add to cart timestamp as recognized revenue. Maybe it actually matters that they did check out. That's a huge step of our revenue recognition process. Or maybe we check if the credit card went through. That's also really important to recognize revenue. So I define it one time. It takes me 6 minutes maybe to write it, or maybe 2 minutes to write the code. And and document it, and now I'm done. I don't have to worry about it. I don't ever have to do it again. So why it sounds counterintuitive that documenting is rapid prototyping? It is, because now you can move really quickly forward and you never have to worry about it again. You never have to ask anyone, and you never have to argue, did you use the right number? Because you know they did. They used the definition instead of directly maybe querying your database for something. I try to put it into numbers, like how we have successful companies and we have companies that failed, and we all know that out of startups there's a huge percentage that will fail and never, there will be nobody driving a Ferrari around. When I look at companies that have used BI correctly and done this right, I see a huge number being very, very successful, and very, very few are failing in desperate terms. Like the ones that are failing are the ones that they go with their guts and they just tried out a couple things. Someone built a spreadsheet and now they're just going with it. Like the ones that do BI right, I think they have a huge chance of success because they make very informed decisions.